The Vorthan delegates entered the conference room like prey approaching a watering hole where predators lurked. Their files on humanity were extensive. A species that weaponized splitting atoms, fought wars over ideology, and considered launching themselves into space atop controlled explosions to be perfectly reasonable. When they learned their human counterpart would be a Marine, several delegates requested combat armor under their environmental suits. Major Rebecca "Becca" Thompson stood as they entered, and the Vorthans froze. She was everything their threat assessments warned about: tall, muscled, with scars visible on her exposed arms. Her dress uniform bore enough combat ribbons to carpet a small room. "Gentlemen," she said, her voice carrying the authority of someone who'd commanded in battle, "please have a seat." I took the liberty of having the chairs adjusted for Vorthan physiology. The standard human ones would have been uncomfortable for your spine configuration. The lead delegate, Zexvar, blinked all four eyes in confusion. Their intelligence suggested human Marines communicated primarily through aggression and profanity. Thompson poured water into crystalline glasses, her movements precise despite hands that could, according to their files, snap Vorthan necks like twigs. I also had our xenobiology team analyze your dietary requirements. The water's been filtered to match your homeworld's mineral content. Small details matter in negotiations. You researched our water preferences? Zexvar's translator struggled with the disbelief in his tone. Of course. Thompson smiled, closed-lipped, having read that Vorthans found bared teeth threatening. My grandmother always said, "You can't expect folks to trust you if you can't even offer them a proper glass of water." The Vorthans exchanged glances. This wasn't matching their profiles of human military personnel. As negotiations began over mining rights in the disputed Kepler system, Thompson listened more than she spoke. When she did contribute, her points were precise, backed by data, and surprisingly focused on mutual benefit rather than human dominance. Your analysis is thorough, Zexvar admitted after Thompson presented a resource-sharing proposal that would actually favor the Vorthans 60-40. But our projections show humans always demand the majority share. Thompson leaned back, and for a moment, the Vorthans saw the warrior beneath the diplomat. Zexvar, I've spent 15 years in combat zones. Lost friends on Titan, took shrapnel on Mars. You know what I learned? The room tensed. Victory without sustainability is just delayed defeat. Her voice carried the weight of hard-won wisdom. We take 60% today, you resent us. Maybe you raid our transports, maybe you ally with our enemies. Then we're spending resources on security instead of development. War's expensive. Peace is profitable. But your reputation. Let me tell you about reputation. Thompson's eyes hardened. 3 years ago, the Krex Empire thought humans were just violent apes. They raided our colony on New Brisbane. I was stationed there. She paused. I killed 18 Krex soldiers in close combat. Saved 30 colonists. The Vorthans shrank back. But you know what I did next? I learned Krex, studied their culture, found out the raid was because their colony was starving, blight had destroyed their crops. So I convinced command to send food aid instead of a retaliatory strike. She leaned forward. Today, the Krex are our strongest trade partners. Their former raiders now escort our merchant ships. That's the human secret, gentlemen. We're not just good at war, we're excellent at choosing when not to fight. The negotiations continued for hours. Thompson never raised her voice, never threatened, never even implied violence. But she never let them forget what she was capable of either. When Zexvar tried to push for better terms through veiled threats, Thompson simply said, I understand your position, while unconsciously adjusting a pen in a way that reminded everyone she could turn any object into a weapon. By day's end, they'd reached an agreement that shocked both governments. Fair, sustainable, and mutually beneficial. As the Vorthans prepared to leave, Zexvar turned back. Major Thompson, our profiles suggested human Marines were different. Thompson grinned, this time showing teeth. Oh, make no mistake. Everything in those profiles is true. I can field strip a pulse rifle in 12 seconds. Know 17 ways to kill with my bare hands. and once held a position for 72 hours with no backup. The Vorthans stepped back. But I also speak 4 languages, have a master's degree in xenosociology, and make the best chocolate chip cookies in 3 systems. She handed Zexvar a sealed container. For your journey home. Made them myself. My unit calls them peace cookies. As their ship departed, Zexvar's second spoke nervously. Sir, should we be concerned? She's trained in both war and peace. That seems dangerous. Zexvar was quiet for a moment, then pulled out a cookie. No, Texnil. We should be grateful. A warrior who chooses diplomacy isn't weak. They're showing restraint. And that, he took a bite, his eyes widening at the taste. That's the most terrifying strength of all. The Vorthan-Human Mining Accord would become a model for interspecies cooperation. And every treaty signing thereafter featured a plate of Thompson's peace cookies. A reminder that the scariest human in the room was often the one choosing not to fight.